I have just had the best bad movie double feature that I've had in years. There are two movies out this weekend, The King's Daughter and Redeeming Love, and you are in bad movie heaven with these. This is the best January weekend in the history of cinema. This is a movie where Pierce Brosnan plays King Louis XIV, who is obsessed with eternal life, and in doing so, he kidnaps a mermaid in order to steal its life force. What? I walked into this movie cold. I'm curious, did anyone get a trailer for this? I technically did. They showed a trailer for it right in front of this very movie. And it wasn't even with the other trailers. It was before the trailers, in the middle of all of the insurance commercials. Between the mermaids, King Louis's backstory, and also the backstory of his daughter, who he brings home from a convent, even though she doesn't know who her dad is, there's so much exposition in the first act that it's all randomly stitched together with Julie Andrews narrating. Kinda like the narration from Dolittle, honestly. It's such a meanwhile opening sequence, she actually does say meanwhile. Don't expect that to stick around though. The narration is at the beginning and then at the end. It was best to let the middle parts speak for themselves. There's something odd about how this is shot. It's lit so bright, like I'm watching a bad kids movie. I kept waiting for the Smurfs or the Chipmunks to pop up at some point. Then, come to find out, it is from the director of some Cats and Dogs sequels, Baby Geniuses sequels, and the Bratz movie. When it comes to the actual sets, they mainly keep the mermaid in this cave that looks like it's the set of a live show you'd go see at Six Flags. Quick guys, we gotta shoot these scenes fast! The park's gonna open at any minute! Even the soundtrack is really dated and out of place, like sound-alikes for a slow pop song from 10 years ago. And the musical score itself is like stock trailer music that's freaking out of control. Two people will just be talking, and you hear this then it kinda does act like a trailer when the music abruptly stops so a character can say a trailer line, like it's an audience applause moment. We were the only ones in the theater. I think my favorite aspect of this movie is the extras. Never have I been so aware that I'm looking at movie extras that are just always strategically placed in these really sparse scenes with no rhyme or reason. They'll pause and look at the camera in slow motion like they're ghosts posing for a calendar. Anytime the King's Daughter does anything, the extras turn and start gossiping and mugging like a bad high school movie. These scenes in the palace are like I'm watching a movie that takes place inside of someone's diorama project. And I know I haven't mentioned the mermaid very much because the mermaid is barely a character. For someone who our lead says, she's my best friend, the mermaid just appears every now and then, like you're watching a video game. She has no lines of dialogue, and most of her shots are like they paid an effects company for contextless shots of a CGI mermaid just to randomly insert into the movie whenever it's needed. That way you get scenes where the King's Daughter kisses her love interest, and then it cuts to the mermaid who's like, But I still kept wondering where in the hell this movie was going. You'll have people who need to be brought back to life because they belly flop into the ocean. There will be drama with the king, and then it will cut to a waterfall with the mermaid and our hero shooting out of it like woo-hoo-hoo-hoo. And then who knows, you might even see the lost city of Atlantis that looks a lot like where Jar Jar lives. I love when the king signals for these ships to turn around and leave, and then in the background you see these CGI ships like I mean, some of the acting is okay. Kea Scodelario works as a 2010 Kristen Stewart. Pierce Brosnan flamboyants it up big time and seems to be having fun. There's barely a scene that goes by where he isn't flipping his hair or fixing his collar. The only thing that would make this movie better is if it were Tommy Wiseau playing the part. William Hurt couldn't possibly care less here, and acts like Bruce Willis does when he's paid to be on set for just a day. Ooh, this movie is magical, alright, but for all the wrong reasons. I'll give it a D, but it's a good D. This movie is like watching a live-action remake of a Disney sequel. And then I immediately had to go see Redeeming Love, which was worse, while still kinda being better, I think. Stay tuned for that review.